All right, everybody. So now we are moving on to the face self-reflexology routine. I've got my cheat sheet right here, and let's start with horizontal zone 1, the forehead. So dividing the face in half, we're going to start with the right side, and we're going to imagine that the forehead is divided into 5 vertical columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're just going to use an index finger to start at the eyebrow line, which is that shoulder line, and we're going to just walk with an alternating pressure up that first zone 3 times, and do the same thing with each consecutive zone. Nothing too crazy. I always like to close my eyes, especially with the face work, just to feel, versus the feet and the hands. You can kind of look. The face, unless you're looking at a mirror, you can't really look at yourself. So taking that time to just tune in and turn in, once you practice these techniques for years and years, or even months, once you get really good at it, you start to just learn what your body is trying to say, but you can't really listen if you're looking. It's something that I tell my students a lot. So just really enjoy the session, close the eyes, feel with your hands, and really let your moment to turn in and tune in to your body be of most value here. And even if you feel like you need to do, again, like we've talked about in previous videos, more passes on one area, you can. That's totally up to you. But just walking up each of those 5 rows on the forehead, you just want to get this image in your mind of clearing the different zones, just to be thorough. Yay, computer updates. And 5. With the 5th zone, if you've gone too far, you're going to hit that mushy temple area, so make sure to avoid that, because that area tends to be a little bit sensitive. We don't want to press directly down on that area. Perfect. After that 5th zone, we're now going to trace around the eye complex. Being careful not to invade the actual orbital space, we're going to be tracing around the upper orbital ridge and the lower orbital ridge, but not directly pressing onto the eye. So we're going to take our thumb for the upper orbital ridge. We're going to start right in that little notch, right where that eyebrow starts to meet the actual kind of upper ridge of the nose. And we're going to press up into that ridge. It actually feels really nice if anybody suffers from like sinus headaches or anything like that. Just tracing around that ridge 3 times. It does tend to get a little bit slippery, so don't go too quick. You don't want to poke yourself in the eye. Not so much from that standpoint, but just tracing that upper ridge. Nice, easy, gentle, very simple technique. Okay. After the thumb, we're going to switch to our index finger and go just below that eye ridge. Again, not going into the eye, not starting in the tear duct, but just below. We're going to walk around the lower ridge of that eye. This is where I have clients come to me all day, every day, complaining about bagging underneath the eyes. And so this is a great technique to physically pump that fluid from out underneath the eyes. That fluid is lymph. Lymph is the immune boosting fluid of the body, but it has no pump. It has no heart like the cardiovascular system. So this motion literally pumps the fluid out from underneath the eyes. Okay. After that 3rd pass, we're just going to do a nice circular massage of the temples. Just for about 10 seconds, nothing too crazy. Just evening it out. Perfect. And that is our horizontal zone 2. Now we're going to go into 3, which is underneath this zygomatic bone. We're going to start on the side of the nose. We don't want to go into the nose or press on the nose, because that's going to restrict your breathing. We don't want that. So we're going to just use our index finger outside of the nose, and we're going to imagine 3 horizontal rows, and that includes the upper lip. So starting from the midline of the upper lip out, those are going to be our 3 rows. And we're just going to use an alternating pressure to press all the way out. If you'd like to involve more fingers than just the index finger, you totally can, especially if you have arthritis in the fingers. You can always make that choice, whatever feels good for you. But again, that image of clearing the zones, using your alternating pressure to literally release all of that tension from the face. Moving into the next consecutive zone, here you're going to feel that really deep ridge of that under zygomatic space. which again, really great for sinus issues, sinus headaches, anybody who has that sinusitis. It'll really help to get in there and drain. You don't want to jam in there too much. Moving to the upper lip 3 times. And this is all that beautiful upper digestive space. So if the stomach starts to gurgle, you feel some movement in the abdomen, that's totally okay. We are pressing on the roots of the teeth here, so go a little bit more gentle. And although I'm speaking, probably not best to speak while you're doing this technique, but really feeling the quality of the tissues here. Okay, after our 3 rows here, we're going to go 3 rows underneath, starting at the corner of the mouth. Using that index finger here, we are actually getting into the majority of the cheek. So what I like to do is I like to keep my mouth relaxed. You don't really need to press too deep here, but you are not pressing into the teeth. You're actually just engaging that soft tissue of the cheek. So not pressing too deep, too in, but instead just nice steady pressure. Okay, moving to that underlip space. 3 rows, alternating pressure. And I'm going a little bit quicker just to demo for you guys, but really take your time, feel here, especially if there's a point where you kind of trip across and you're like, ooh, that would feel really good if I just held that point nice and easy. Moving to that 3rd row, those are the points that really help you to balance, so pay attention to those points. Now we're not on the jaw here, we're just above it. The jaw is our last section that we're going to walk. Perfect. And 3. Wonderful. With the jaw, we're going to do 3 sections. So we have the upper ridge of the jaw, we have kind of the meat or the bone sideline of the jaw, and then we have the underside of the jaw. You can see I'm using my thumb, and that's the technique we're going to use for that. But I like to use 2 fingers here just because the jaw can take it. It's a very hard area. It also represents all of that really dense low body. So I'm going to use 2 fingers, and I'm going to start at the actual kind of dimple of the chin. We're going to walk that upper surface 3 times, walk the middle surface 3 times, and then switch to our thumb and walk the undersurface 3 times. Again, nothing too crazy. But here the jaw represents all of those lower body sciatic reflexes. So if you do have an issue of reoccurring sciatica, calf cramps, etc., this is the area that really you want to focus on to stimulate that lower body circulation. Great thing about facial reflexology when we do it by ourselves, especially for men with facial hair, you know what feels good to you, so you don't necessarily need to pull the facial hair or shave in order to do this technique. So really do what feels good for you. I'm actually doing a really unique hand position. I've taken my thumb underneath my 2 fingers, and I've just started to press there. That's spontaneous, never done that before. So really do what feels good to you in terms of this technique. Especially, like I said, for men, you don't need to worry about the facial hair with this technique because you are the one doing the technique. Moving to that underside. Using that thumb, I've actually braced my thumb against like a soft fist just to get that nice ledge and leverage out of my technique. Number 2, and then number 3. There we go. That is the entire right side of the face. Nothing complicated. Now we're going to do the left side of the face, but it's the exact same routine. Great job, guys. Okay, so now we venture into the left side of the face. We're repeating the exact same routine. I've got my cheat sheet right here, and we are going to go through that exact same routine, but on the left side. So the face is really simple. We go right hand to the right side, left hand to the left side, just like we'll do with the ears in the next video, but very, very easy to do this work. We're not crossing over as far as that goes, but we're going to start in that same place, the forehead. I'm going to start at the eyebrow line. Imagine those 5 vertical zones, and we're just going to walk up those zones 3 times each. Closing the eyes just to make it a little bit more peaceful. And I am speeding up this technique just to demo for you, but really take your time. Enjoy it. That's the whole process of self-reflexology, is to really tune in with yourself. Moving to that 2nd row. Just like with the previous videos, you'll notice that one side feels very different than the other. So really stop and pay attention. observe what you're feeling. Notice the differences, notice how they correlate with your body, and really let the body talk to you in that way as you switch from one side to another. Okay. Moving to the fourth. 1, 2, and 3. Picturing those zones being nice and clear, releasing one bit of tension at a time. 2. Ooh, this is a good one. Feeling that sinuses opening. Sinusing. It's a combination of sinuses and opening. Okay. Moving to the orbital space, again, not invading the eye. Using that thumb first, we're going to start at that upper eyebrow ridge and just tracing nice and slow around that ridge. Now for me, reflexology taught me how to be ambidextrous, meaning using both hands. I am right hand dominant. You will find that one hand is dominant for you, so doing reflexology on a non-dominant side will be difficult at first. Really take it slow. Really take it slow. There's no rush, nowhere to go, nowhere to be. Nobody's watching you unless you're doing this with friends. So really take it slow. Moving to that lower orbital ridge, starting just below that tear duct area and walking around again, pumping all of that lovely under eye baggage out. 2 and 3. Wunderbar, great job. Finishing with a little bit of circular temple massage for about 10 seconds. Always want to keep things even, doing exactly what you did on one side, unless it feels particularly good, like I said, to deviate from the technique, walking one row more than the other, but essentially trying to keep both sides as even as possible. Okay, those 3 imaginary rows starting at the side of the nose, using your index finger, tracing around that zygomatic bone, that cheekbone, 3 times, 2 and 3. Moving down to the underzygomatic space. See how deep I'm getting in there? Yeah, that is absolutely natural. You'll feel that beautiful cave. You might even want to slow down through that under cheek area. It'll almost let you go in and up, which is a beautiful place to be. Like I said, especially if you have that chronic sinus issue. Beautiful to just pump through that under cheekbone. Okay. Moving to the upper lip. From a reflexology standpoint, based on where people actually have dental issues, we can read that. Since the mouth represents the upper palate being the upper digestive system and the lower palate being the lower digestive system, all of that becomes significant as well. So tooth sensitivity is very interesting to interpret as far as where people have that sensitivity. But again, minimize talking while you're doing self-reflexology. Okay, starting at the corner of the mouth. 3 rows, 3 times each. 1. Again, not pressing deeply here, just enough to engage that really spongy, soft tissue as you walk. 3. Moving to the underlip space. 2 and 3. Oh, there goes my stomach. Absolutely wonderful. Moving to that space just above the jawbone. Just above the jawbone. 2, 3. Ooh, I've got some really good tummy movement going on. Wonderful. Okay. Last section, we're going to divide the jaw into that upper, middle, and then under part. On this side, I'm actually using 3 fingers, just because my hand immediately went into that position. Doing whatever feels good. Again, self-reflexology is your practice. So just make it feel good so that you can access those tissues. If you're straining to perform this technique, you're doing it wrong, I promise. So really enjoy the work. Feel what's underneath your fingertips. Feel the responses in your body. Repeat where you feel it needs to be repeated. And just let this work show you what your body needs. Last section of that lower jaw space. 2 and 3. I am actually going to throw in an extra walk because that felt really good right up in there. Beautiful. And that is the left side of your face. Great job.